I'm working with scrap clay that I have previously conditioned and passed through a medium setting of my past machine. Then I folded the clay in half and I used the roller to roll them flat. And then I'm going to use an ammonite silhouette to cut out an ammonite shape. You can download this ammonite silhouette from learnpolymerclay.com and it is free for personal and commercial use. And then I just use the flexible blade in some areas and the craft knife in other areas to cut out the ammonite shape. So as I said, I used the ammonite shape to cut out the design. Then I smoothed off the edges, and then I used the Makings Clay plastic texture sheet to texture the back of the design. Then I applied the same silhouette on top of the piece, and I'm using a dotting tool to make the spiral inside the design. And I am going to use Abalone Fimo metal leaf on top of the piece. You can apply the leaf and then put the cutout silhouette on top of the piece, and using a dotting tool or an old pen you can impress the lines on top. Then you'll just have to remove the excess foil and of course save these pieces for other projects. And I did my best to remove the excess, so in some areas I had to apply the foil on the sides, but I'm going to use the blade and the craft knife to remove the clay decorated with the foil, because for this piece I didn't want a foil decorated margin. So this is why I'm cutting a little bit more. In fact, I'm just removing the parts that are decorated with the metal foil, and then I have to smooth off the edges again. And then I'm going to use a tool, the sculpting tool, and this is a Donna Cato sculpting tool, and it is really a great tool for polymer clay. So I'm using this sculpting tool to scratch the foil, and in the same time, because it is a sculpting tool, I am removing a little bit of polymer clay. And this is why I used a dark color of scrap clay, because I wanted to have a contrast between the abalone foil and the color of these lines. I'm rather scratching the foil in order to be able to see the black scrap clay underneath. So for this project you could use your craft knife and scratch the foil. You can use a skewer or a toothpick. So I'm using the needle tool as well to make like a zigzag design. I'm just doodling a little bit on top of the piece to add more interest to the piece. And I'm using this needle tool and I'm pushing the clay inwards, because I want to create an interesting look on the sides. I want to create an ammonite shape by pressing the polymer clay inwards in those lines that are, I don't know, going in the areas where I used the sculpting tool to make the bigger lines that are going to, I don't know, to the center of the spiral. And then I put my piece on the tile wrapped in parchment paper, and this is how I am going to bake the piece. So in order to add more interest to the design, I decided to use some ball findings, and I'm just using my round nose pliers, and I am creating a zigzag shape on the wire. I'm just putting the wire inside the jaws of the round nose pliers, and then I'm wrapping the wire around the second jaw, and I'm doing this upwards and downwards in order to create like a zigzag, a wavy design. And then I'm pressing the wire into the polymer clay. So I did this all around the piece. And then when you are happy with the look of the piece, you can put it in the oven for 45 minutes and bake it at the temperature recommended by the polymer clay manufacturer. So I decided to use resin to finish the piece. I applied the resin on top of the piece, and then I checked to take out any air bubbles. I hope that you liked the tutorial. Please press the like button if you like the tutorial. Please share your impressions with me and stay tuned for more inspiration for your work with polymer clay.